Imagine the hubris of God, of man making something illegal God put on this planet for us to heal. Benjamin, get my musket. So more states legalized, more healing centers open, Experience Onward, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, hopefully Florida. Now federal. This one's cloudier. More cloudy? Cloudier. I really wish the president in that meeting would have said, well, Secretary Collins, what do you need from me with veterans and psychedelics? We need a pen. Mr. President, in your office, it's like the executive orders coming off a printer. You got to go to Kinko's for more pens. Let's go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome aboard the MAX Afterburner Podcast, sponsored, powered, brought to you by the No Fallen Heroes universe. Folks, this is a big one. Some absolutely incredible developments to bring you up to speed on. Outside of why this is absolutely incredibly a big one. This is a big one because today is the 4-year anniversary of me essentially being reborn. 4 years ago today, right now, as I'm speaking to you, let me look at my clock. Literally, me, Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor, Navy Cross recipient, JT, Jared Taylor from Black Rifle Coffee, JJ, John Jones, another Navy SEAL veteran, teammates with Marcus, and Robert Gallery, All-American from Iowa and NFL veteran. The 5 of us, we ended up calling ourselves the Unusuals instead of the Incredibles. We are in a convoy right now, heading from San Diego to the Mission Within, just south of the border. Why? As many of you know, because if you do what I do and talk about, you're a felon in San Diego. If you do it an hour south, it'll save and change your life. Potentially. I always have to throw potentially in there. It did for me, might not for you or for everybody else. That's the way this works. But ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible 4 years. There is no way on God's green earth I could have imagined. First of all, meeting all these guys and getting in a little convoy and driving down to the Mission Within. I absolutely no clue what was going to transpire. Zero. None. Clearly. Comma, there's no way in hell I could have foreseen, predicted, could have imagined 4 years later I'd be sitting in a podcast studio, first of all, talking about that experience, let alone having started the No Fallen Heroes Foundation or everything that I've done or that I've experienced in the past 2.5 weeks. Let's just say 3 weeks. Wow. Let me start with the new first, because these are just absolutely incredible updates. And then we'll go back to 4 years ago this afternoon. I had a calendar reminder because I'm that type of guy. I had a calendar reminder on my phone for the 100th day of the Trump administration, the 100th day. Why? Because that's kind of the report card day, right? They say, oh, the first 100 days, this president, 100 day. Don't ask me. It's a thing. Put that on my calendar. And I said, hey, Whiz, if you don't hear anything about veteran suicide, psychedelics from the VA, from anybody, light them up. Okay? And I did. Got on X, lit it up. Lit up the VA Secretary Doug Collins. He's an Air Force colonel in the reserves, I think. He's a chaplain. And he's our current VA Secretary. What happened? He answered me. Tweet more or less said, hey, man, you need to go full throttle with psychedelics and healing veterans. We're losing too many a day. And he said, Whiz, I'm trying. I'm on it. I'm paraphrasing. But the Secretary of Veterans Affairs answered me on X. Thought that was pretty cool, right? actually made a news story about it that day. Like, hey, the secretary had answered a veteran who brought up psychedelics. So I thought that was pretty cool. I woke up the next morning to a direct message from the secretary. Whiz, would love to get you up to speed and get you on board the team to try and get this done. Here's my chief of staff or chief of communications contact. Please reach out to her. Wow. Very surreal. That day, ladies and gentlemen, there's a cabinet meeting, right? So, right around the 100 days, so big cabinet meeting. I'm going to be honest. I don't dig the current cabinet meetings. It's like they go around the table and it's a little too self-licking ice cream cone-ish for me, especially the attorney general. You're not the president's attorney, man. You're the attorney general of the United States. So I'm a little, we don't have a king, right? So, but anyway, they all went around the table. They got their minute of, self-licking ice cream cone and apple polishing. And to his credit, his incredible credit, after, Secretary Collins briefed, hey, here's what's going on at the VA. Look at me moment. To his credit, Donald Trump listened to the VA secretary, leaned forward and said, what's going on with veteran suicide? Man, I about fell on the floor in my office when I heard that. Been on this big blue marble 56, 7, however, whatever, 50 plus years. I have never heard the commander-in-chief of the United States say anything about veteran suicide. I was blown away. That wasn't it. Secretary Collins, after answering my tweet, after saying, hey, please reach out, I want you on board and up to speed, looked at President Donald J. Trump, 47th President of the United States, and said, well, Mr. President, clearly what we're doing is not working. We've been throwing money and money and money at the veteran suicide issue, and it's stayed the same or gotten worse, depending on who you ask. I was like, fuck yeah, brother. Then he said, Mr. President, we're actually going to look into psychedelics for veterans. There are some nonprofits out there working with psychedelics and healing our. We're going to look into it, and we got to make sure it's all, tested and whatever. But he said it's showing a lot of promise. My God, ladies and gentlemen, 4 years, a month to the month that I sat with the medicine in a cabinet meeting, the president asked about veteran suicide, and the answer included nonprofits who were helping our vets with psychedelic-assisted therapy. Man, my wife ran into the office like, what's wrong? Because I was yelling. What an incredible moment. Gets better. I was traveling up to D.C. that next week. Melissa Lavasani and the Psychedelic Medicine Coalition was holding the Federal Summit on Psychedelic Medicine at the NPC, the National Press Club. I reached out to who the secretary, the chief of the communications or whatever it was for the VA. And I said, and she said, hey, I'd love to talk to you. I would absolutely love to talk to you about your mission, what we're doing at the VA to help veterans heal with psychedelics. Would you like to jump on a call? And I said, hey, I'll actually be in Washington next Thursday for the Federal Summit on Psychedelic Medicine. How about I fly in a day early and I can stop by? And she was thrilled. She said, absolutely, I'll bring one of my VSOs in, and we'd love to have you at the headquarters. Wow. So I got up, crack of dawn, Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. flight up to D.C., and there we are. And this was the day or two after we lost another Hornet, the third F-18 off Roosevelt. So I had done a media hit the night before. I did a couple media hits from the National Press Club about this. We can talk about that, different time or something like that. Real quick about that, though. 3 F-18s lost off Truman, Carrier Strike Group 8. That's a lot of Hornets. It's all relative, folks. So the first Hornet lost was in December, trying to land back aboard Truman. It got shot down by the USS Gettysburg. That's what we call in the military a blue on blue. Good guy shooting at a good guy. Thank God both aircrew ejected and they were recovered safely. That's loss number one. Loss number two was we had a Hornet, a single-seat Hornet, I believe, an F-18E, roll out of the hangar deck as they were, pulling it with a tractor. What happened? Apparently, the aircraft carrier was maneuvering to avoid enemy fire. So there is so much wrong in that sentence. It's bad enough that we lost a Hornet over the side. It's even worse that it was due to maneuvering. So, folks, an aircraft carrier is the president's. It's mother. It's surrounded by Secret Service agents, ships. Something getting through to mother like that is awful. Anyway, as I was going up to D.C., hey, we just lost another Hornet off Truman. This was a landing mishap. Sounds like the wire, it's called the cross-deck pendant, that big, thick wire, there's 4 of them, snapped. And the Hornet didn't have enough airspeed to get airborne again. Both aircrew ejected safely again. So 3 Hornets lost, no lives lost. That sucks, and it's awesome. Let me give you some perspective. I was in Carrier Air Wing 11, 93, 94, 95. During workups. So workups means you got to get ready to go to Iraq. You got to get ready to go on cruise. You're almost gone more during getting ready to go on cruise than when you're actually gone on cruise. You're up in Fallon dropping bombs, shooting down bandits. You're out off the coast of San Diego doing all sorts of boat stuff and then back up to Fallon. During workups, ladies and gentlemen, we lost 5 aircraft. We hadn't even turned west to go to Iraq yet. This is off the coast of San Diego, sadly, Nashville, and in Fallon, Nevada. 5 aircraft lost. 2 Tomcats, 2 Hornets, and a Prowler. What an absolute horror. 8 aircrew. 8. Gone. Forever young. So whenever I hear, oh my God, 3 Hornets, Whiz, and everything like that, I'm like, did anybody die? Well, no, but we lost. Then shut up. You can make more Hornets. You can't make another human being who was that person. So putting all of that into perspective. Sucks losing 3 Hornets. It sucks to shoot one down. My God, I think the last blue-on-blue incident was in 2000, what was it, 3, 5? F-18 Hornet, guy was killed, man, in Army Patriot battery. Killed a F-18 brother, man. My God. Whew. Just remembering all this stuff, it brings a little bit of it back. So why am I bringing this up? Because I was doing media hits for the Hornet loss, and then I'm flying up to go to the VA headquarters and meet with some heavies, and then the National Press Club. It was an incredible week. So anyway, pull up to the VA, man, not as a protester, not as a whatever. And there I go, man, up in the elevator to the 10th floor, down to the chief's office that overlooks the White House. It's literally looking down on the White House. And it's funny, in hindsight, looking back on this meeting, I know what happened. What do I mean? Because I met with Morgan Ackley and another VSO, and it's funny because like halfway through, it was, call it the half an hour point, they were kind of blown away. I briefed them on my personal story with the medicine and the foundation. About halfway through, Morgan like grabs her phone and she's like nodding at me, looking and texting, and I'm like, that's a little rude, but I'm in a zone. I'm going to keep talking here. She was texting the secretary, I guess. I guess she was going to talk about a Secret Service agent. She was kind of feeling me out, probably trying to make sure I wasn't a complete nutcase or something like that. So halfway through the meeting, man, knock on her office door, and in comes Secretary Collins. Whiz, I heard you were in the building. I'm going to shake your hand. I'm like, okay, sir. Well, didn't know you were in the building, but I'd be honored to shake your hand. I gave him a coin, our No Fallen Heroes Foundation Challenge coin, and gave him a quick brief on what we're doing. And he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, Whiz, if anybody's going to get this done, it's us. Or it would have been done by now with the last administration. And the time is now. Blown away. 4 years to the month after lying on my back in Mexico, I'm in the VA meeting with the VA secretary. Never thought this would happen. Absolutely incredible. Left as I was sitting there talking to the VA secretary, he got a letter from Lieutenant General, Congressman, Jack Bergman. Jack Bergman, 3-star Marine general, aviator, fellow naval aviator. He was in 4th Mall. I was in 3rd Mall, Marine Aircraft Wing. It doesn't get any more Republican than a Lieutenant General Marine congressman from Michigan. Apparently he and Representative Correa from SoCal, Democrat. Talk about the odd couple. And they look like it, too. They look like they run the PATH, Psychedelic Advancement Therapies, PATH Caucus. It's a did you hear this word? Bipartisan group of lawmakers supporting psychedelic therapy and healing for veterans. When I was at the VA on Wednesday, they had sent a letter to Collins like, hey, heard you talking in the cabinet meeting to the president about psychedelics, and we'd love to invite you to sit down and let's get this going. That was at the VA, folks, when I was there. Why do I bring this up? Because the next morning, Thursday morning, they opened Congressman Correa and Lieutenant General Bergman, Congressman Bergman, opened the Federal Summit on Psychedelic Medicine. I didn't know they had sent this letter until later in the day. After they got done their opening, and again, they're like, man, it doesn't get any more bipartisan than this. Most of these issues, we can't agree even on what color the sky is. On this, we agree. Met the general afterwards, gave him a coin. He's like, I was in my flight suit, man. I wear the billboard. I didn't wear it to the VA. I had my sport coat on with my wings and trying to look professional. Next day, I wear my flight suit with the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, the wings of gold that I earned as a naval aviator, the Top Gun patch that I earned, and the 2,000 hours that I earned. Almost at 3,000 hours. That's a sad story. I should have done a couple more cross countries. But anyway, absolutely incredible everything that was going on. What was it? Thursday, while I was with Congressman Bergman, Congressman Correa, all these 500-pound heads in the psychedelic space at the National Press Club, the secretary was actually in a House Oversight or Veteran, whatever, committee. Washington gives me a headache. Again, in person, he starts ripping about psychedelics for veterans and how it could help prevent veteran suicide, man. I'm humbled. I'm honored. There's no way in hell I expected all of that. And then it only got better. I got to write an op-ed about the whole trip. And then, folks, literally when we were up there, Thursday night, I think, I went out, I was that weird guy in the Italian restaurant bar by myself. President Trump nominates a new Surgeon General. The lady is pro-psychedelics. The doctor said she found healing and love with psilocybin. Are you shitting me, Whiz? No, I'm not. And it's funny to see Democrats twist themselves into a pretzel to go against this woman. Like, what Orange Man bad, he can't do anything. I oppose anything that this man talks about. Seriously? Today, well, this was a couple days ago. This is insane. Exploring psychedelic medicine is a top priority for Trump administration, FDA commissioner says. Did you just hear that? The FDA, right? Schedule 1 drug, no therapeutic use, and high risk of addiction. The FDA and the Surgeon General nominee after the president in this. I mean, I'm not even going to recount everything, folks. I'm starting to lose track of the good. I can't imagine if this happened in 4 years since I sat with the medicine and was born again, baby. Baby Billy, born again, Whiz. I am going to be even more blown away by the next 4 years. But the second, and I told the secretary this, I ain't got no filter, folks. Go on now. I love watching the Righteous Gemstones. Go on now. Baby Billy, I told the secretary, I said, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, man. These are great. I love it. Words mean nothing without action. What is the follow-up action? And if you've ever heard me talk before about a fighter pilot debrief, we have a saying, don't throw a knife unless you have a note attached. So when I was in the VA, the knives I threw had notes attached. The number one note that I told the VA secretary was vouchers. What are we doing, man? If you don't want to pay Experience Onward in Oregon with my brother Daniel, or the Mission Within down in Mexico, if you don't want to pay these, because it's a Schedule 1 and it's a felony, pay the veteran. If a veteran's coming out of pocket $6,500 to heal with Ibogaine, or $2,500 with psilocybin in Oregon, whatever it is, have them send you the receipt. I'm fairly certain it's an accounting code or something like that. Reimburse a veteran, or I said, it would be nice, Mr. Secretary, to get vouchers for veterans. It would be super effing awesome. I didn't say this. He's a chaplain. I dropped the effing. How about the nonprofits, man? We spent, hell, I don't even know. I don't want to be wrong. 500, 750, whatever amount of money on grants so far in 4 years, however many. Can we get reimbursed for that? Copy, paste for the next group. So the immediate action item out of the VA should be vouchers. That can't be hard. The VA already does that. Our eye doctors are full. Go over here. Go to that eye doctor. Send us the receipt or something like that. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. If 22 to 44 children were being shot every day, and not once a year, every day in a school, this country would make something happen in a couple days. It's veterans. Thank you for your service. We'll try and figure something out here. But the secretary is right. I didn't hear bullshit from the Biden administration. Kamala, Joe, you ever hear them talk about veteran suicide? I was wrong. I thought Democrats were there. I remember the late 60s, early 70s, anti-war, anti-pharma, anti-big corporations, anti-government, and taking mushrooms. The fuck happened to those people? They're now the ones wearing masks in their cars by themselves, yelling at you to get your 8th booster and shut up. Big pharma's awesome. The fuck happened to you people, man? And you're pro-war. It's bizarro world, man. The parties have flipped. It's funny to see in my lifetime, but so Democrats, what happened to you, man? Mala beads, drug rugs. What happened to you? Now you're corporate shills for Pfizer and the government. Unless it's this government, obviously. You're against all of it. Enough with the partisanship, man. Healing isn't partisan. Healing shouldn't be partisan. So, folks, the past 3 weeks were beyond my expectations. And then last Friday, I introduced Dr. Mash. She's on our advisory board. I'm on the advisory board for Demerex. So Dr. Mash came. She's the lab coat and beaker to my experience. Talk about the odd couple. I'm joined at the hip with Dr. Deborah Mash, the queen of Ibogaine. She came. She has a company called Demerex. They're developing a medicine. Of course, legally they have to call it a drug. I'm calling it a medicine to cure people with AUD, alcohol use disorder. 39, however, millions, tens of millions of Americans suffer from AUD. A lot more might not be diagnosed with it. I suffered from AUD, and I wasn't diagnosed or whatever. I was a drinker. Ibogaine. Ibogaine. Took it, 12 to 14 hour experience. Once ibogaine is processed in your liver, it creates something called noribogaine. Doesn't give you a 12 to 14 hour trip, but that's the compound, enzyme, molecule, atom. Don't know. It's the thing that interrupts addiction. So you can actually take the medicine that Dr. Mash and Demerex is developing, and it will destroy alcohol in your life. Now, I'm going to talk about off-label use because I can. It'll interrupt all sorts of addictions. We've helped people with porn addictions, heroin addictions. I was a coffee fiend. My wife's like, what do you do? I'm like, I can't drink coffee anymore. I do now. I'll have a glass of wine now. After that successful meeting at the VA, I went into, what the hell's the name of that famous DC restaurant? Because I was watching the Panthers game. But I had a couple glasses of wine. I can do that now. Old Whiz, a couple glasses of wine was 2 bottles, maybe 3. Now, for a year-ish, I didn't drink after the ibogaine. Now I can have a glass of wine or 2 with my steak or my wine. And to be honest with you, I don't even do that often. Why? Because I regret it. I ended up feeling like ass. And I'm like, what was the point of that? It's almost like the medicine going, okay, dude, right? I mean, I microdose Iboga now, and it really destroys all of that stuff. So anyway, that happened too, was having Dr. Mash come and get some Top Gun Options investors to invest in Demerex. And then actually tomorrow, my brother Daniel's coming because he's opening a round of funding for Experience Onward in Oregon. Daniel and I, my brother from another mother, 2-time Stanley Cup champ, we're doing a traumatic brain injury study that we're funding for psilocybin. A lot of ibogaine stuff. We're going the psilocybin route here because it's legal in Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico. Thank God for those states. Traumatic brain injury. He's got the athletes. I have the veterans, and we're doing a study. I'll have more on that to come, but you can potentially invest in Experience Onward. He just got a very big investor. They're already looking at properties in Colorado and New Mexico to open more clinics. Love being partnered with Daniel and all the good work he is doing. Just seeing his healing story. He loves my healing story. I love his. It's what a great dude and a great effort. So a lot of incredibly good stuff going on. Forgot to mention, was it in DC or was when I got home? The great state of Texas. Thank you, Republicans. Texas red and $50 million ibogaine initiative approved. The Senate, the state Senate, 141 to 2. Who are the 2? Let's call that unanimous. I don't know what. Maybe they were drunk and they hit their no button by accident. But ladies and gentlemen, $50 million ibogaine initiative in the great state of Texas. Governor Ron DeSantis in the state of Florida, you are an absolute failure. In all of the goodness, what happened last week, like the day after Texas does their ibogaine initiative, Ron DeSanctimonious signed into law in the once great state of Florida, banning mushroom spores. Like, are you insane? Like, out in the cow pasture, you have a felony in your own cast? What an idiot move, Ron. You're a fellow Navy veteran, and you have let the veterans down in this state. I will actively campaign against your wife if she's running, and I will support Congressman Byron Donalds from over on the West Coast. I have a close friend on his staff. She's like, he's been briefed on the psychedelics, and he is very, very open. Not a word, not a single word out of Ron DeSantis on veterans healing with these medicines in this state. It's a disgrace. He should be leading on this. And Ron, in case he didn't notice, in case he didn't listen to the first half of this podcast, Trump, RFK, SecDef, Kennedy, Collins, they're all bullish and say, look into psychedelics for veterans. Not a word. Thank God it's your last term. That was the only other. I'm not going to say bad. I'm going to say other. In a fighter pilot debrief on the whiteboard whiteboard, I put goods and then I put others because nothing's bad. Why? Because anything that would go under a bad, we're going to debrief really hard and figure out how that's never going to happen again. So it's not a bad, it's an other. So Ron DeSantis gets the other for the past couple weeks. As national news is lighting up with Surgeon General picks, FDA commissioners, VA secretary meeting with veteran psychedelic advocate. That was the headline. I'm like, wait, that was me. Ron fumbles it in the state of Florida. Enjoy retirement, Governor, because I will not support you for any other office unless you make a rapid 180-degree turn, re-enter the fight, and join up. Okay. That's your current sit rep or situation report. 4 years. I still get downloads from my first experience with the medicine. I look back on it, man, and I'm just blown away. And remember, folks, every download, every time I meditate, or even when I'm just in the silence thinking about that journey, it's as real as me sitting here talking to you. In some ways, I'm going to tell you it was more real. I personally believe this is hell. This is purgatory, whatever words you choose. War, famine, hate, pollution, homelessness. It wasn't supposed to be like this, clearly, but this is the challenge, man. You're living in the challenge. What I experienced is our supposed to be, in my opinion, natural default state. It was love. It was oneness. And again, I have to laugh. 5 years ago, 4 years and yesterday ago, Whiz would be laughing at me if he was watching or listening to this podcast. He died. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, ego, death, however you want to say it. I look at my brother Marcus. Man, he was in Texas pushing for the Ibogaine Initiative. His brother Morgan Luttrell, that was the other goodness 2 days ago. Wall Street Journal. Marcus talking about being born again. An interview in the Wall Street Journal with Morgan Luttrell. What's the exact headline? Let me read it to you. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. GOP lawmaker opens up after life-altering psychedelic trip on a legal drug. So I can't stand the Wall Street Journal anymore. I mean, the New York Times is less partisan. GOP lawmaker opens up about life-altering psychedelic trip on a legal drug. I mean, it's accurate. Not a drug. Spravado's a drug. Ibogaine is not a drug. Anything that God put on this planet for us to heal. Iboga, psilocybin, mescaline, peyote, bufo. Not drugs. They are medicines, and they heal. Forgot about the Morgan Luttrell interview. Remember, folks, Marcus and I and the Unusuals, we went down there, we healed, we got home, and Morgan, also a Navy SEAL, also with a lot of his own traumas, looked at his brother and said, "What the hell happened to you? Where'd you go? Where's Marcus? Man, that guy died." Morgan said, maybe I should go check this out. And he did. And now he's a congressman, man. He's one of our biggest proponents on the Hill. I could not be more bullish. But as an options trader, as a fighter pilot, I'm always planning for the worst. So when it doesn't happen, I'm pleasantly surprised. If you're always planning for the best, you're probably going to be let down a lot more than often. I know that's not the best way to live, but it is for me. So it's a lot of talk, and I appreciate it. But remember in August, the FDA AdCom, that was some dark times, wasn't it? Joe Rogan had Rick Doblin on a couple podcasts ago. Really good interview. You should go watch that again. But the FDA AdCom, man, everybody on that advisory committee had big ties to Big Pharma. There are very large powerful forces aligned against this. There is no money in healing. I guarantee you behind closed doors, these pharma companies are already looking at Spravato, ladies and gentlemen. What's that? The S-ketamine for Janssen? Yeah, Johnson or Janssen. Whenever the big pharma, it was a $1 billion product. How long? In a year. I can't believe I have to say this, but do you think big pharma wants people healed? What a horror to say that. It's the truth. You know they're doing modeling right now, folks. And I told Dr. Mash, I'm like, I'm kind of torn. I love Demorex and everything like that. Sadly, I see one of two things happening. A big pharma comes in, buys it, and puts it on the shelf. The buying it's going to be great for me as an investor. Putting it on the shelf is going to be a horror. Or big pharma comes in, buys it, yeah, and they charge $30,000 or whatever, just some obscene, like that Martin Shkreli guy, Okay, an EpiPen cost $30. Now it's $1,500. I bought the company. I watched that American Greed episode with him. So I don't want any of that stuff to happen, obviously. But these are all words. I told the secretary, and I've told anybody. Remember, folks, I stopped going to D.C. 2022. I was in D.C. walking around with Rick Doblin, walking the halls of Congress, and that's when I was told that, I love what you're doing, Whiz, but you're going to have a problem with the big pharma, the alcohol, and the tobacco, folks. I'm like, isn't that your job? So, very thankful, very bullish, very everything, fill in the blanks. We got work to do. Now the true work starts. But I get my batteries recharged almost on a daily basis. And it balances out because on a daily basis, I see new grant requests. In the past 4 years, I haven't read a single grant request submitted to our foundation that doesn't make me tear up, doesn't make me cry. Not one of them has been bullshit. These are people at the end of the rope. These are heroes who deserve healing. Counteract that with, and that's why 2022, 23 was very tough years for me with all of this stuff. Talk about my journey. I hope you listened to the last episode. I think it was 123, because this spiritual awakening has not been easy. It is a destruction of everything that I thought to be true. Okay? And a rebuilding. That's not easy, man. Going through half your life filled with a lot of illusions and then having a lot of that get destroyed or a new way to look at things. So it hasn't been all sunshine and lollipops. But 22, 23 was tough because we were getting more grant requests than seeing what? Good in return. What do I mean by that? Now, in balancing out with all the sad grant requests are, Whiz, I'm back. Just got home yesterday. I don't want to kill myself anymore. Or, thank you, Whiz, and No Fallen Heroes. You helped save and change my life. Wow. So I'm in this, it's constantly this scale going on. I'm like, oh man, this is getting heavy. And then here's somebody, and you guys, if you long-time listeners, hopefully, first-time callers, you know that I call it the world's greatest Ponzi scheme. These people get in and they heal and they go home and they spread the word, man. They want everybody in it. Man, the world would be such a better place if more people healed. Right? Oh, geez. And then also, let me add to the Washington trip. This was nuts. 72 hours of nutness. Walking down the street, we got a new pope. American, Chicago, Augustinian. I went to St. Augustine Prep. Most of my family went to Villanova. Sadly, my sister Monica transitioned when she was a freshman at Villanova by a drunk driver. We're a Villanova family, so the Pope is from Villanova, went to Villanova. Oh, man, Big East basketball. So that was pretty cool, too. I'm still a recovering Catholic. You guys know me. I can commune with Father, Mother, whatever words you choose to use, God, Source, Divine, Creator, Truth. The Pope's the guy from Chicago, man, who went to Villanova. I get a lot of Catholics, and again, I take the hate mail, and it's funny that people who hate the most are so-called Christians and tolerant folks, but there's no spiritual chain of command, in my opinion. There's ultimate command, and it's God. But man, when I experience oneness, unity, Christ consciousness, I believe when Christ said, "I and the Father are one." Remember, he talked in parables a lot. He wasn't claiming some spiritual chain of command, like God, the Holy Spirit, then me, and then Peter, or whoever the current pope is, and then the archbishop, the bishop, the monsignor, your parish priest, and then the deacon, and then you. Ain't no chain. In my opinion, there is no chain of command. When I became one with God, I was one with all of you and Source. Now, obviously, God, our Creator, is the uncaused cause. Look that up. And who said that? Who used the term God is the original uncaused cause? The universe is infinite. So it never had a beginning? Or it had a beginning with the uncaused cause. And that is what I believe to my core. Anyway, on this tangent, because walking down the street, seeing everybody kind of in the streets and, giddy excitement. American Pope. Cool. The American Pope is, it's awesome. It's great. The unspeakable horrors the Catholic Church has committed for centuries, and in the recent century, I have significant problems with. But the random times I've been back to Catholic Mass, it's very interesting after healing with the medicines and doing all the research about psychedelics in Greece and early Christianity, stealing a lot from the Greeks and the Eleusinian mysteries. And you can go read the Immortality Key with Brian Marescu and do your own research. I'm pretty damn sure I know kind of where a lot of stuff came from. But going back to Mass is interesting after healing with the medicines and knowing the history. But God bless the Pope, and I pray for his pastoral duties. I hope he gets back to being a Catholic Pope. Okay, so anyway, back to 4 years ago tonight and this journey and the fire ceremony and taking the ibogaine and just not knowing what was supposed to happen. Every journey I've experienced since has been completely different. Every time the medicine gave me what I needed, it definitely didn't at that time give me what I wanted. That is the biggest lesson learned I have to share with you about the medicine work. And in hindsight, I can tell you with 100% belief, certainty, faith, that is the truth. Why? Because I was talking a couple minutes ago about the 22 to 23 tough times, man. Went down to Costa Rica. I needed a little help. Thought I was failing. All these grant requests coming in, all this hurt, all this everything. I'm sharing my healing story, and people, I want that. I'm like, I don't know if you're going to get that, but here's what I was in a dogfight, man. And we went down to a beautiful place in Costa Rica and sat with the actual root bark, right? Iboga is root bark from Gabon, Africa, Central West Africa, but mainly Gabon. It's the national plant or whatever. Steph Curry, I believe his name is, NBA. He's from Gabon. The beast from Gabon, the Gabon beast. Look that guy up. He's like the national export from Gabon. He's a great guy. I've talked to him. If we get our docuseries going here and go to Gabon, he's like the prime minister. Whenever he shows up, it's like a national holiday in the country. Great dude. But when I sat with the root bark with my beautiful bride, Susie, and some other veterans in Costa Rica, I got exactly what I needed, which was what? I remember encountering God again and apologizing for failing. He gave me this gift. I'm busting my ass trying to help people heal, and I'm trying, man. And it ain't working. I'm failing. And God just simply, again, no word. God doesn't communicate with words, man. It's energy and you talk. Wasn't a mouth, wasn't words, but God told me, Matthew, you can't heal anybody. That's my job. And I literally the 100-pound backpack I'd been carrying for a year and a half, 2 years, dropped. I said, that's my job. And they have to want to heal. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Pick them up, drag them, carry them, do whatever you need to do, get them to the door. They got to walk through. And then I got it. Whew. I'm telling you this because, and many of you know my second ibogaine experience with Slider and Stas and, Sledge and Bart. That one was, it wasn't a flowing robes and hanging out with God for 12 to 14 hours that my initial experience was. Why? Because what I needed at that time. The second ibogaine experience, remember at one point a bunch of people coming up to me. It was kind of dark, and I'm like, man, I'm not digging this. God, we're yeah, let's go. Yay. These people coming up, and I thought they were trying to strangle me, and I'm like, oh shit, this is not fun. Until I recognized they were trying to cover my mouth to keep me from talking about this. And I remember all these people, I just fell backwards, and it felt like I was falling, and when I appeared to, old school Whiz as a kid, hell type of thing, like the heat and the fire as I'm falling away from these people that were trying to silence me. At that darkest moment, our beautiful friend Katerina gave me what a special birthday present. It's on my I Love Me wall with all my F-18 stuff and fighter pilot stuff right there. It's this hand, like in the Chosen, right? This hand came down as I was falling and grabbed me and lifted me up, and I exploded into light, love. God has me. Divinely protected and guided. Going to be attacked. Going to want to be silenced. I'm not going to want to. They're going to want to silence. It's not going to work. I felt it. So the second ibogaine, about a year after the first, was exactly what I needed at that time. Now, all the skeptics sitting there can say, that's what your brain was thinking, so it project. Knock yourself out, man. I love you too. I don't believe that. That's exactly what I needed at that point. There was a lot of stuff on that journey that I got that I keep to myself. And with my beautiful bride, she's like, wow. And it really helped us. So every journey since 4 years ago tonight, I've gotten exactly what I've needed. And I guess indirectly on some of those, I got what I wanted to, because clearly it made me feel better. And, before we, as we get close to wrapping up here, I have to remind you, this is not for everybody, man. Please. I got to reach back out to this guy. This guy reached out on LinkedIn. Hey, man, he was an Army guy. I forget what his background is, but he's like, I did ibogaine. It was awful and sucked. And I'm like, dude, love to have you on the podcast. He canceled, I think it was 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, and said, hey, I'm not feeling too good. I'm like, all right, well, reach back out to me. So if you're listening to this, I apologize for not having your name immediately handy. What I'm getting at is I don't want to tell everybody it's sunshine and unicorns and lollipops and rainbows all the time. It is not. Some of my journeys were not like that. My psilocybin experience in Colorado, our first retreat in the United States of America, when I finally achieved one of our mission objectives of this foundation, which is to heal our heroes at home. Going to Costa Rica, going to Mexico would infuriate me. I'm fleeing this country with heroes who incurred trauma serving it. Are you shitting me? What the fuck? So thank you, Oregon. Thank you, Colorado. Thank you, New Mexico. We're healing our heroes at home. But, man, that psilocybin in that heroic dose in Colorado, that pause was for a reason. I mean, so convinced I died. I mean, I got exactly what I needed during that, too. So, to be clear, there are so many different healing modalities. Yoga, breathwork, meditation, climbing a mountain in Nepal. Radical trauma might need radical healing. And these medicines, I would consider, well, that's sad to say. I guess they would be considered radical healing. They shouldn't be. These medicines have been used for thousands and thousands of years, and we're pretending, acting like in the West, we just, look at what we just discovered. Look at Iboga. And the Bawiti tribe that's been doing it for centuries and centuries is like, okay, welcome to the party. Oh, we have to test this. And they're looking at you like, what's a lab coat and a beaker? I mean, seriously? What's the FDA? Now, I get it. They all serve their, I get it. But seriously, folks, you went into the middle of the Amazon and told some medicine woman, well, you have to get a 40-hour certificate in the state of Oregon to be able to sit with somebody who takes psilocybin. What? So I get it. Different cultures have different stuff, but always remember, ladies and gentlemen, and I love Secretary Collins saying, hey, we're looking into this. We're going to have to do some research, make sure everything's good, but, it's showing promise. Do both. Ladies and gentlemen, in the military, you don't attack A to get to B to get to C to make it to D, the mission objective. You attack A through D. It's called shock and awe. We attack in parallel, not sequentially. So don't give me this, well, we have to wait for the next 5 years for 90 studies. No, we don't. You could do that. Attack in parallel by giving, if a veteran is at the end of the rope saying, man, I'm going to scrounge together some money, or I got a grant from the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, I'm going to go heal. How about you reimburse them? We're funding $1.5 million trans operas in Serbia. You can't send half of that to the No Fallen Heroes Foundation to give grants. I had stopped going to DC for years. This trip was absolutely worth it. Whiz, happy 4-year anniversary. Thank you, Whiz. What's your predictions? Right, the great Karnak, Johnny Carson. Let me do some predictions. 4 years, man. I caught me off guard. Isn't that weird? What are you laughing at? I told myself a joke I never heard before. Oh. So I'm surprised by this question because I haven't put any thought into it. So let's do it together. More states, obviously, legalize these medicines at a state level. Thank God Governor DeSantis is gone. Maybe we'll find somebody who can lead the veterans in the state of Florida and take care of them. So state level, we'll start with state, then we'll go upstairs. More states. California, what the fuck is your problem? The land of fruits and nuts should be teeming with psychedelic-assisted therapy. It's not. Governor Newsom, according to Mr. Trump, Mr. President. What's going on in California, folks? Care more about providing benefits to illegal immigrants than you do to your veterans. It's disgusting. So I don't know. More states, legal, obviously. And I'm talking legal for therapeutic use. I'm not a big decrim, guys. Look what happened in Oregon. Poor open air drug markets. They went too far with the pendulum. Legalize it all. And oh my God, let's get back to the middle. I'm not a decrim guy. Legalize. Don't decrim something. Well, if we catch you with it, it'll be like a parking ticket. What the fuck? Imagine the hubris of God, of man making something illegal God put on this planet for us to heal. Benjamin, get my musket. So more states legalized, more healing centers open, experience onward, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, hopefully Florida. Now federal. This one's cloudier. More cloudy? Cloudier. I really wish the president in that meeting would have said, well, Secretary Collins, what do you need from me with veterans and psychedelics? We need a pen. Mr. President, in your office, it's like the executive orders coming off a printer. You got to go to Kinko's for more pens. Let's go. Robert F. Kennedy, HHS Secretary, as a presidential Democrat candidate who I almost voted for if he was stayed in. Ibogaine being labeled a Schedule 1 is absurd. He used the word absurd and said, if elected, I will reschedule it. Where are we? Mr. President, reschedule these medicines. You don't have to make them 100% legal. Go Schedule 3. Ketamine is Schedule 3. Prescription, doctor. We could do this in a couple days, man. The president has ultimate declassification authority for top secret stuff. He has ultimate rescheduling authority, folks. I think the CSA, right? The Controlled Substances Act, all sorts of stuff, but it's the bully pulpit I'm talking about. When I go to the VA, they say you need to talk to the lawmakers. When I talk to the lawmakers, they say you need to check with the folks at the VA. It's a circular firing squad with them pointing at each other. Who's in the middle? Stand up and go, I got this. We're moving forward. So it's cloudier at the federal level, but let's push for, if you can reach your elected reps, say vouchers. Please reimburse these veterans, these first responders, these family members who are coming out of pocket to go heal. And obviously the nonprofits that are giving grants to help these people heal. You have NGOs, folks, non-government organizations, which was a crock of shit. Washington is a cesspool of, thank you, Marco Rubio, was a cesspool of NGOs. It was a self-licking ice cream cone. All these senators and congressmen, well, my wife works at this NGO, and I just voted to steer that NGO $20 million, and she makes $3 million a year in compensation. It's filthy and disgusting that they do all of that crap, and most of those NGOs are anti-American. What I'm getting at, folks, is if you guys and a lot of people were cool with all that stuff going on, how can you not be cool with helping the nonprofits in this space doing the work? I didn't get a chance to tell the secretary this, but, come on a retreat, man. Take off the coat and tie and throw in some Lululemon pants, some boots, and a hoodie, a No Fallen Heroes hoodie, shameless plug, and come hold space. Do the medicine. Come watch. So, rant complete on that. Rescheduling. In the next 4 years, I pray. We shouldn't have led with MDMA. Go watch the other podcast. We failed. Shouldn't have led with MDMA. Everything, just about every issue the AdCom had, party drugs, stigma. Ain't no stigma with a party drug with Ibogaine. You're not taking Ibogaine and going to a club. You're not going anywhere for a weekend. So, rescheduled in the next 4 years for therapeutic use. Okay? Vouchers first, rescheduled. And then, folks, I've been to VAs. They're like Civil War hospitals, man. You think it's bad? Whiz, I got an appointment with my, next appointment with my doc is 10 months from now. Oh, my God. Yeah, that was the earliest. Oh, my God. Could you imagine if this therapy ends up being legal through the VA, the wait list and everything? It's just, so I tell people the mission objective of the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, aside from grants and everything like that, is to go away. My beautiful bride and I should not be doing this. There should be zero veteran nonprofits providing grants for these heroes to heal. Why? There isn't. That's why. But we shouldn't be doing this work. I love doing it. We shouldn't be doing it. So hopefully, eventually, we end up going away, or we shift missions. I don't, help. Sadly, the folks who have transitioned due to ending their lives, we help their families out or the kids or something like that. Whatever. I'm going to find a way to keep healing our heroes. But you know what I'm getting at. We shouldn't be doing this. So vouchers, rescheduling, and man, hopefully, the Congressman Bergman and Correa with the Centers of Excellence to treat veterans with these medicines here in the United States. So, folks, I'm honored. I'm humbled. I'm absolutely blown away by what happened 4 years ago tonight, by what's happened in the past 4 years, and what will happen in the next 4 years. I thank you for being a supporter. If you listen to this podcast, God bless you, or you watch it, or you share it, or you talk about our mission, or we've helped you heal, whatever it is, thank you for your support. If you're new, welcome aboard, man. Please help get our mission out. Please, if you can, throw a couple shekels over the door. We need help. The market volatility, the tariffs, the trade wars, the uncertainty, funding's skosh right now. We are on vapor. We are on fumes. I'm taking the jet. We're flying it out to, I'm jumping in the back seat, my FAA medical. That's a whole nother story. Jumping in the trunk to take it up to Colorado for the summer to do donor flights because we're on fumes and we need your help. I thank my sister Monica and my father for helping me on this night and every night since I healed with the medicine. I thank my beautiful bride and my children for their love and support for this mission. The only reason I didn't check out and transition before I was healed was just looking at a family picture, man. Sadly, in the past 4 years, we've had a lot of folks check out, a lot of veterans and first responders and family members. It's sad. I love getting those texts, or I love being on a retreat and being told to my face, Whiz, I don't want to kill myself anymore. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from all that I am, my soul, for your support, your love, your care. We are all just the same cosmic stardust, man. We literally are. None of this existed. It appeared. Let there be light, and not even the flash of an eye. Do you know what happened in the first second? They break down the first second of the universe into like 1/1 trillionth of a second. You can't fathom that and what happened in the second. But that's where we all came from. Let there be light, and there was light. So you, me, your worst enemy. I really don't have a worst enemy, but God loves you the same as he loves your worst enemy. Once you get that, you really do start to wonder why there's war or poverty, because you are them and they are you. That you do to the least of my brothers, you do unto me. So 4 years from now, during the debrief, it'll be the 8-year point debrief. I hope all of those things come true. If you are a veteran, a first responder, or a family member who feels this calling, shoot me an email, man. Whiz, WHIZ, @nofallenheroes.com. Go to our website, nofallenheroes.com. Go to our YouTube channel. Start doing all the research you can. I'll leave this with you. The medicine calls to you. If it is, even a little bit, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. If it is, we're here for you. Have a great rest of your day. God bless you. God bless your family. Fights on. Namaste and Basi Basi. Whiz out.